This should basically round off the year in terms of styluses, so expect the top list coming out soon. This is the LAMY Safari Twin Pen EMR. This is a successor to the LAMY All-Star, which still does exist, but this one is very interesting. This one has a LAMY ballpoint pen as well as a WACOM stylus. This one has over 4,000 levels of pressure sensitivity, palm rejection, and of course, because it is WACOM, it is completely wireless, and you get 2 replacement nibs and tweezers to pull it out. It is already opened up because it is a review sample, so we'll slide this out like that. There we are. So that's everything that comes in the box. I'll put that off to the side. See if there's any sort of information or anything outside of just that. But it being a review sample, maybe there will not be. Let's just open this up. No, it doesn't seem that there's anything under there. So here are the tips. These are not the standard WACOM tips, although they will work on WACOM devices. We'll show you in a second. These ones are more towards the Mitsubishi Hi-Uni Digital or the Stadler tips. They're not really the standard ones that you'd get on a Remarkable, for example. Now, you know, there have been some companies that have tried this before, like BIC, for example, which we did see at a trade show. The reason they haven't, up until now, is because when you twist it, there's the WACOM tip, so you can draw on a WACOM tablet. We'll show you in a second. But that's a pen. That's an actual pen. So what some people were doing, even at the trade show, were picking these up when there's a big table and there's 7 of them for people to try, and they're drawing on the devices. And this was a while ago when they had plastic screens like the Remarkable One, the Mimas, the Quaderno, the Sony. So people were drawing on the screen with the actual ballpoint pen and denting and damaging the pen. It's a real thing. We don't want to scare you, but it's an actual issue with these. That's the WACOM canister inside connected to the tip, and then that's a ballpoint. So we're going to get a piece of paper and we'll get a tablet and we'll draw on them. On the left, we have an Amazon Kindle Scribe, latest hotness. On the bottom right, we have a piece of paper, an actual piece of paper. Remember those? And on the top right, we have the EREADER X BIGME GALY, just for fun because it's e-ink gallery and it's the only e-ink gallery device in the world. It bears mentioning. We got to show it because LAMY is a very good quality pen manufacturer. Let's get going. Amazon Kindle Scribe. Yes, I'm writing like a doctor because it doesn't matter. I'll tell you the feeling in a second, just kind of getting a hand of it here. And over here we have the EREADER X BIGME GALY, or Galley, same thing. All right, so you can see it works across platforms. How does it work on a piece of paper? La 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 la, doesn't do anything. Why? Because it's not a pen. You have to swivel it like that. Have to say it again, word of caution if you're skipping through this video, the reason this doesn't exist in its entirety across all these different manufacturers is because people have been trying to avoid this. You don't want to write on the screen with this. Likely it should be okay. You're not going to splatter your screen and bleed the ink everywhere if you write on a glass screen, but don't do it because you could leave little indentations in the screen protector. I'm just going to ever so slightly tap it on the screen. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that at all. So let's use real paper. Real paper. LAMY. Sounds good. Now, how does the pen feel? We'll just burn through this because you're not watching EREADER handle a ballpoint pen. Now, it's a pen. It's just a ballpoint pen. There's not really much to say about it because the ballpoint pen is only as good as what you're writing on. For example, how many pieces of paper do I have behind this? Am I in a stack ledger filled with 100 pages? Am I going to have that little bit of a pillow dip when I draw on it? Am I writing on a single piece of paper next to my phone on a marble countertop? On a wood countertop that has grains in it, so when I draw my pen over, it vibrates. There's so many conditions. We're going to put this to bed. It's a good pen. LAMY makes real pens too. In fact, that's what they started with, so that's the end of it. Now, when you want to use the EMR, again, I gotta say it every time. There has to be these disclaimers. I wonder if there are disclaimers on here. You have to twist it to the WACOM side. Then when you write, everything is fine and dandy like sour candy. Now, this tip, I can already feel this is the same as a Mitsubishi or a Stadler. It is not hard and stocky and stumpy like a standard WACOM Remarkable tip, or an Onyx tip, or a early Boyu Jezitech collaboration, or even an EREADER. This is definitely a more spongy experience, and I believe they do that because it is for glossy surfaces, as it says. I'm not sure what they're meaning by that, because it feels sticky at times. Then you change angle and it just has this run. It has this absolute slip and it just runs away from you. So it's not a very consistent drawing experience, but it does matter what your surface is. So if you're drawing on a top coat layer of an anti-glare screen protector like the Kindle, this has a anti-glare layer to refract the light so that you're able to draw. Have to select the pen. Now the EREADER X BIGME GALY has the same thing, where it has, you can see it's cut out from the camera as to not blur the camera, so it's going to feel different on here. In fact, it feels a little more sticky on here than it does on here. So this tip is definitely not the graphite composite standard tip you get with the Remarkable 2. It's far more extending past the actual canister itself. It sticks out pretty far, and it does have a great deal of flex to it. Whereas the standard tips from WACOM and the older plastic LAMY tips didn't have this level of flex. But it is nice how you do have the ability to swap in between them, because that's one of the things. If you're grabbing a pen and you're used to it, you got the muscle memory down, and you have to jot down a note, but then you want an actual piece of paper, you can write over there. You do have to be careful. You gotta make sure you look at it, you see which one you're using, and then you apply it to the proper application, because you could really damage your stuff, especially if you're using the older stuff like a Mimes, the Remarkable 1, the Moby Scribe, the King Jim. All those ones have plastic screens, so you gotta be careful with those. All the new stuff like Onyx and EREADER and BIGME, we all have glass screens now. Amazon has a glass screen, so you'll be okay there. But this is everything you need to know about the LAMY Safari Twin Pen EMR, the first actual commercially available product that has a stylus on twist number 1 and a ballpoint pen on twist number 2. For GoodyReader.com, this is Peter.